So if you, because Kung Fu is not as common as karate and Jiu-Jitsu and Ludo, because it's not as common as Japanese, because it hasn't been as promoted. Because there is a sort of a bias with the shared genetic Western and Japanese thing that I've talked before. So what you do is, so Wing Chun is kind of the karate of the Kung Fu world in terms of commonality. So you can Tai Chi, and it's the most common external system, and then Tai Chi, the internal. So they're both the most common systems. And then if you want to create a third system, you have Tai Chun, aka Wing Chi, and you combine them 50-50 to create a third system. And then you've got your solo systems as well. And in the Kata Sinum Tao, when you circle your hand and you grab the form, Tao Lu, whatever you want to call it, whatever language you want to call it, in the form, when you circle and you grab, that's the claw hand, which you can use for chinna. So there is claw, it's not just a palm striking system, there is a sort of a, and then the other forms as well. Weapons and unarmed, by the way. There is, secrets like iron palm and internal energy as well as external. There is internal qigong in Wing Chun, in Wing Chun Quen, WCK. There is internal energy as well as external force. So there's a Wing Chun version of iron palm. There's a Wing Chun claw. Not as obvious as the tiger fist system and the eagle fist system, but it does exist. So here's what you do if you finding it hard to get access to Kung Fu. Wing Chun is the most, again, the karate is the Kung Fu world. You probably try and find some kind of access to Wing Chun because it's the most accessible system of external Kung Fu. If you really can't even do that, then definitely Tai Chi, and try and draw out some of the external components of Tai Chi, like with the back of the forearm, horse's mane, if you can hit a Western boxing bag, things like that. And also you could maybe try and study the old aspects of karate kata, which go back to Okinawa, and that has elements of Kung Fu in them, because there's lots of crossover between southern systems of Kung Fu in the Chinese styles and Okinawan karate. Southern Kung Fu and Okinawan karate, there's a lot of, like, Okinawan karate is the only type of karate that has iron palm. Japanese karate does not have iron palm. As far as I know, maybe tinfoil hat, but I never observed when I did it that there was. But anyway, that's what you want to do. This is just a quick by the by. That's what you want to do. You try and get involved with the most accessible systems, because the more rare systems like Yin Jab Pai, the Eagle Fist, or Fu Jab Hai, the Tiger Fist, or Black Tiger system, or things like that, are going to be hard to access. So try and get hold of the most accessible systems. And as I say, the Okinawan kata, they will have Kung Fu elements in them too. So yeah. And even to be honest, some, if you delve deep enough, there's internal elements into the Japanese karate kata, internal Kung Fu Kung Fu hyphen elements. You just try and do the best what you have available. So this is probably the most common, one that's everywhere. There'll be a class everywhere. So try and draw out the external components of that, and then try and find some way of studying that, the movements of that, and try and find some way of practicing the most available systems, and draw out the secret techniques, because that'll look more like the others, like Southern Mantis or NPM or CLF, so just try and get hold of the most accessible, most commonly available systems, and then study the secret uncommon techniques, and that'll be more that'll access more of the exotic style. What's the word I'm looking for here? Secret knowledge, things like that. Yeah, it'll look more kung fu-y. I can't really think of the word. Someone else think of the word, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So. Yeah. And also the weapons, the Wing Chun swords and the long pole, the wooden pole, will holding that will help with the unarmed, increase the unarmed thing, because you have to transfer energy to weapons. So it'll help improve your unarmed skills. Things like that. It's just all food for thought. It's just my ramblings, but try if it's hard to get access to kung fu because it's nowhere near as common as stuff with a Japanese gi, because there is a Western bias towards that Japanese style gi systems for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into the history of it or who's good or who's wrong or right or I'm not going to go into. I'm just saying, as it exists now, there is that bias in MMA and in the West in general. So yeah, do the most close range, the most availably accessible systems. Do that. Yeah, and draw out the most kung fu like elements if it's an Okinawan karate kata or even a Japanese karate kata. If you go to the advanced levels, you can draw out the very roots of it, internal energy and kung fu and things like that. So yeah, try and access again what's closest to hand, what's closest range, what's most the best proximity, the best distance. There's no point if it's millions of miles away, other continent or whatever. It's very going to be hard. So you just try and get the best available in your area, kind of thing. So that's what you do. You can, create a system or whatever, or I don't know, just again play around with it. But definitely Tai Chi will be in every area. TCC, Tai Chi Chuan, and Wing Chun Kuen, but definitely Tai Chi is probably the most common in the West of albeit it's internal kung fu. I understand that, and I understand that people will say the internal external divide is all made up and fairy tale and whatever. It's just the direction. You learn. It's just the direction. You might learn, say, soft to hard if it's an internal system like Tai Chi Chuan, or you might learn, hard to soft if it's like kung fu or karate. It's just, but the overall equals the same. You see, because if you add S plus H or H plus S, if you add the grand total result at the end, it works out the same. Really the nomenclature is about direction. Okay, so but anyway, it doesn't matter about getting caught up in details at that moment. It's just yeah. It's just about, if you want to do it, get the most available that you can. Or another way is you could do a study club or a study group, and do self-taught. Just get the best quality that's available in the area. Yeah, best quality. That's the best you can do. And book or whatever, or DVD or anything, but physical knowledge is the most important. So don't just watch the program on it or read the information on it. You need to practice it. And yes, it would help to have a qualified teacher, but if you don't have that, you have to do the next best thing. Just do the best quality practice with what you have available. That's all you can do. Try the best with what you've got. That's all you can do. So yeah, if you're interested in that and it's hard to get access to it, it's Tai Chi probably first, then Wing Chun Kuen, Tai Chi Chuan and then Wing Chun Kuen, or Kuen. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Wing Chun fist system. The Kuen is fist, like Jeet Kune Do kind of thing. So Yeah. Um, how do I sum this up? Yes, physical knowledge, best quality available. It'll never be 1,000% perfect, and just study group and physical knowledge is probably the most number one important thing within the kung fu. So you need to physically practice it. You can't just read the information on it or watch the disc. You need to try and have some physical practice of it. But yeah, start with the most common systems. I know people say it's boring, but start with the most common systems because they are very, very readily available. So that's my talk, and maybe I've been a bit boring, kept saying the same thing, but I didn't stray off topic too much, so there you go. So, yeah.